Tonight, we gently step into the past, to a place the world has nearly forgotten, where people lived quietly and time moved gently. Take a deep breath and let your thoughts settle into the quiet past. Let us explore 300 quiet moments from history, centuries ago. Life followed rhythms we have long since forgotten. In the heart of a vast empire, mornings began with gentle light. Small villages stirred as the sun spread its warm fingers across fields. Farmers rose steadily, preparing for a day of calm labor. Their hands moved with tender care, picking olives from aged trees. Birdsong filled the air, a welcome companion to the early hours. The scent of fresh earth mingled softly with dew on green leaves. Women stirred pots of slow-cooking food, simmering with fragrant spices. Bread dough rested quietly in warm corners, ready to be baked. Men tended to their herds, walking alongside grazing goats and sheep. Children's laughter echoed faintly from stone courtyards, bathed in sunlight. Old men gathered beneath wide, leafy trees, sharing gentle stories. The rhythm of daily life hummed like a calm, steady melody. Market stalls opened with a whisper, revealing colorful fruits and vegetables. Baskets of figs, pomegranates, and ripe melons invited quiet admiration. Threads of silk and wool hung lightly, swaying in a mild breeze. Craftsmen shaped clay and wood with meticulous, unhurried movements. The mellow light of afternoon touched the walls of humble homes. Windows framed scenes of tender moments. A mother weaving, a child drawing. Faint calls of a street vendor drifted through narrow, winding alleys. Lanterns hung low, readying for evening's peaceful descent. Families gathered around low tables, sharing gentle meals and soft laughter. The gentle crackle of fire warmed rooms filled with embroidered cushions.
As twilight deepened, cats stretched silently along sun-warmed stones.
Lanterns glimmered, casting mellow shadows on cobbled streets. Voices softened, blending into the calm stillness of the night. Let us now drift toward the warmth of a baker's morning. In a small town, ovens glowed with a steady, inviting heat. The baker's hands worked dough with a tender, practiced touch. Flour dusted the air lightly, catching the sun's mellow rays. Breads shaped into round loaves, rising slowly in the warm air. Sweet aromas mingled with the scent of fresh herbs drying nearby. The baker's family moved quietly, sharing smiles in the soft kitchen light. Outside, morning fog lifted gently from gardens filled with herbs. Rows of thyme, mint, and sage thrived beneath the calm sun. Neighbors passed by with nods and greetings, their steps steady and sure. Clay pots held blooming flowers, adding splashes of color near doorways. Inside the bakery, wooden shelves carried pastries dusted with powdered sugar. Honey dripped softly from delicate spoons, ready to sweeten morning tea. Sunlight filtered through small windows, warming worn tables and chairs. The rhythm of kneading matched the hum of bees outside in hives.
Faint laughter from children playing near the fountain blended with birdsong.
Baskets of figs and dates waited quietly for afternoon gatherings. As the oven's fire dimmed, the town's pace settled into a steady calm. The baker's family paused, sipping fragrant tea with a tender ease. Evening candles flickered quietly, welcoming the hush of the night. Dreams gently took hold beneath embroidered blankets in cool rooms. Stars appeared softly, brightening the serene, sleepy skies overhead. Let us now drift gently to the peaceful rhythm of a village market. The market awoke slowly under a warm, clear morning sky. Stalls lined the square with carefully arranged goods in neat rows. Vendors adjusted cloths draped over wooden frames and stone tables. Colors of ripe vegetables shimmered quietly in the tender light. Pale cucumbers, deep red tomatoes, and striped aubergines offered calm beauty. The faint scent of spices lingered near jars filled with cinnamon and cloves. Potters displayed bowls and plates glazed in soothing earth tones. Leather sandals and woven baskets rested softly on earthen floors. Faint conversations drifted between neighbors, filled with gentle smiles. Children's bare feet pattered upon sun-warmed cobblestones, chasing soft shadows. Elderly women examined cloth, fingers tracing delicate embroidered patterns. The peaceful rhythm of bargaining was slow and steady, full of respect. Honey flowed like liquid gold from clay pots, catching the light's kiss. The distant sound of a water wheel turned steadily near the stream. A quiet breeze carried the aroma of fresh herbs and warm bread. Cellars offered tastes of olives cured in cool, fragrant brine.
Sun-warmed stone benches invited brief rests amidst the gentle bustle.
As noon approached, a calm hush spread across the busy market. Families gathered under broad awnings, sharing quiet meals and soft stories. The gentle clang of a bell marked the afternoon's tender progress. Sunlight softened as it filtered through trees, dappling the dusty paths. The market slowed. Vendors closed shops with still, measured movements.
Evening approached with a faint, peaceful glow over the village roofs.
Lanterns were lit, their light steady and calm against dusk's descent. Shadows lengthened gently, wrapping the world in a soothing embrace. Let us now drift toward the tender hum of a city home. Windows framed the warm glow of lamps in narrow city streets. In small rooms, families gathered around tables, low and round. Clay cups held fragrant tea, steam rising in tender spirals. Soft laughter bubbled beneath the hum of calm conversation. Children traced patterns in the dust on thick wooden floors. The scent of roasting chestnuts filled the kitchen with mellow sweetness. Hands wove threads of wool into soft, intricate tapestries. An old woman hummed a familiar tune while preparing evening bread. The flicker of candlelight played over shelves lined with well-loved books. Potted plants brightened windowsills with touches of green against stone. The city's pulse was steady, quiet, like a slow, peaceful song. Whispers of distant fountains added coolness to the warm, close rooms. Neighbors exchanged greetings with kind smiles through latticed windows. The rustling of silk curtains marked a gentle evening breeze. Fireplaces glowed faintly, casting tender shadows on painted walls. Outside, stars appeared one by one, shining with a serene light. Lanterns in the streets blinked calmly, guiding night travelers softly. The hum of quiet life settled warmly over the rooftops and alleys. Families prepared for sleep, folding linens with steady, loving hands. Dreams began to stir beneath embroidered blankets and soft pillows. The city's heart beat, slow and steady, a balm for weary souls. Morning would come again, with gentle light and familiar routines. The world rested, wrapped in the embrace of patient, still night. Let us now drift toward the hush of a rural garden. A garden bloomed gently under an ever-watchful sun. Rows of sweet herbs swayed in the calm breath of morning. Lavender and rosemary leaned toward the warm, steady light. Bees moved with care from flower to flower, humming tenderly. The soil was dark and rich, cradling roots in quiet safety. Freshly watered leaves glistened faintly beneath a soft blue sky. A wooden bench sat nestled among climbing vines and orange blossoms. A single cat prowled slowly, padding along mossy stones with care. Fruit trees bore apples and cherries, their branches bending low. Birds nested quietly among the limbs, watching the day unfold. The scent of fresh jasmine floated faintly through the humid air. Gardeners worked with steady, harmonious motions, tending each plant with love. Water bubbled in a stone fountain, a lullaby of gentle trickles. Soft shadows of leaves played patterns on sun-dappled paths. Sun hats and baskets rested peacefully beneath a fig tree's shade. The calm murmur of life filled this small sanctuary with peace. Petals drifted slowly down, like fragile whispers on a breeze. Evening softened the garden, wrapping earth and sky in muted colors.
Lanterns hung from branches, casting tender halos of light on leaves.
Crickets began their quiet song, blending with distant owl calls. The garden sighed with fatigue and joy as night wrapped its arms. Stars twinkled faintly above, guardians of dreams and quiet hope. Let us now drift gently toward the sounds of a riverside village. Ripples moved steadily across the mirror-like surface of the river. Fishermen prepared their nets with slow, deliberate care at dawn. Small boats rested quietly, tethered to worn wooden piers. Willows bent gracefully, their leaves brushing the gentle water's edge. The air was fresh and cool, carrying soft scents of morning mist. Children skipped stones, their laughter fading into calm echoes on stone walls. Laundry hung on lines, swaying softly in the freshening breeze. Villagers exchanged greetings with warm smiles and steady gestures. Smoke curled gently from chimneys, mingling with the first rays of sun. Along the riverbank, wildflowers nodded peacefully amidst tall grasses. A lone heron stood still, watching the water with patient eyes. Fishermen mended nets, their fingers tracing hollow patterns in quiet focus. Day unfolded slowly, wrapped in the soft embrace of gentle routines. Women gathered herbs beside the stream, their voices a faint harmony. The quiet splash of oars marked a steady, calm rhythm on the water. Market stalls set up near the quay, offering fresh catch and bread. Warm bread, olives, and figs awaited customers with mild, inviting scents. The village breathed deeply, cocooned in the stillness of rural life. Evening light shimmered softly on the river's smooth surface. Lanterns lit the docks, casting peaceful glows on worn stones. The village settled into night, wrapped in woven warmth and whispered prayers. Stars began to twinkle, mirrored gently in the smooth, sleeping river. Let us now drift toward a merchant's slow, peaceful journey on the road. Dust rose faintly as a caravan moved along a quiet path. Camels walked steadily, their feet pressing soft impressions on warm earth. The merchant adjusted his cloak, feeling the calm breeze on his face. Travelers shared soft conversation beneath the steady march of hooves. Simple meals were prepared over small fires, aromatic and tender. Wheat and figs were packed carefully, wrapped in cloths from distant towns. The road wound gently through hills dotted with wild flowers and shrubs. Nights brought gentle darkness, sprinkled with the faint light of stars. Campfires glowed warmly, casting mellow light on resting faces. Soft murmurs of conversation blended with the quiet rustle of leaves. Tents sheltered the group, offering a still haven from the night chill. Morning broke with amber light, painting the sky in calm tones. Birds sang faint welcome songs as the caravan resumed its steady pace. The peaceful rhythm of travel was a gentle heartbeat through the land. Rest stops were chosen with care near bubbling streams and shade. Water was drawn quietly from wells with solid, practiced motions. Sun-warmed stones were used for gentle massages and cleansing rituals. The merchant's hopes were steady, born of slow persistence and patience. Evenings passed in soft storytelling by flickering fires, voices low and warm. The land offered tranquil beauty in every bend and horizon. Camps settled into silence, wrapped in the embrace of night's cool breath. Let us now drift toward a scholar's calm study by candlelight. In a quiet room, books stacked gently by a worn wooden desk. The scholar's fingers traced faded words, reading slow and steady. Candles flickered tenderly, casting warm light on faded pages. Scrolls of parchment rested softly beside pots of ink and quills. Maps hung quietly on walls, their edges curled by age. The scent of aged paper mingled with faint hints of jasmine oil. Outside, the night moved softly, muffled by thick stone walls. The scholar sipped tea, its warmth a calm companion in stillness. Notes were made with a measured hand, each letter neat and deliberate. Diagrams and sketches unfolded, revealing careful thought and patient study. Occasionally, a quiet sigh escaped as new understandings slowly dawned. The world beyond the window lay calm and serene under starshine. In this room, time flowed steadily, unhurried and deep as a stream. A cat curled on a velvet cushion, its breathing slow and even. Firelight danced quietly, reflecting in inkpots and polished wood. Letters from distant friends lay unopened, safe in a small box. The scholar rested when thoughts grew faint, eyelids falling like autumn leaves. Morning would come softly, bringing fresh pages and gentle discovery. The study remained a haven of calm inquiry through changing days. Let us now drift toward a humble kitchen in a village home. Sunlight streamed through small windows, lighting wooden tables and earthenware. A woman stirred a pot filled with simmering lentils and herbs. Bread baked nearby, rising gently as fragrant steam filled the room. Chickpeas and rice waited patiently to join the meal's tender dance. Outside, chickens pecked quietly in the garden's cool, shaded patches. The scent of freshly picked mint and parsley mingled with bread's warm crust.
Hands moved steadily, kneading dough with loving, practiced ease.
Children sat nearby, drawing softly on scraps of parchment and cloth. The oven's warmth wrapped the room in gentle, steady comfort. A cat stretched lazily on a windowsill, basking in soft light. Guests arrived calmly, greeted with smiles and the sharing of fresh figs. Voices blended in mellow harmony as food was passed with care. A patchwork quilt draped over a bench promised rest after the meal. The woman hummed a calm melody, weaving tradition through each action. Evening encroached, folding the kitchen into shades of deep amber and brown. Lanterns lit with steady flames, breathing tender warmth into the twilight. The household prepared for rest as firewood crackled faintly by the hearth. Peace settled over the room, wrapping all in quiet satisfaction. Outside, stars began their slow, eternal dance across the cooling sky. Let us now drift toward the calm flow of a bustling city street. The sound of water from fountains mingled with soft footsteps. Cobblestones bore the steady impressions of traders and townsfolk alike. Children played quietly near shaded corners, their laughter a faint breeze. Linen awnings fluttered softly over cafes where gentle conversations stirred. The scent of fresh coffee mingled with baked sweets and distant spices. Street vendors arranged spices and dried fruits in neat, colorful piles. Shopkeepers dusted shelves, fingers tracing the outlines of pottery and glass. A gentle wind carried scents of jasmine and orange blossoms through alleys. Lanterns hung from balconies, their glow steady as dusk approached. Musicians tuned instruments, preparing for mellow evening melodies. Shadows lengthened slowly, wrapping the street in tender evening hues. Couples strolled with steady steps, embracing the calm warmth of twilight. Lantern light flickered softly on stone walls, textured by years of history. Cats slinked through narrow passageways, watching the gathering of night folk. The city's heartbeat was measured, a tranquil pulse in the fading light. Vendors closed stands with quiet care, securing goods with practiced hands. The faint clink of cups and gentle rasps of door closure settled. Stars blinked serenely as windows glowed with the soft promise of rest. Evening prayers whispered in hushed tones from minarets high above the streets. The city exhaled a peaceful sigh, welcoming the cool, mellow night. Let us now drift toward a calm afternoon in a riverside garden. Willows shaded the gentle curve of a slow-moving river. A small wooden dock rested quietly, inviting rest and quiet thoughts. The breeze stirred leaves and petals with mild, refreshing touch. Water lilies floated serenely, their blooms soft and pale in sunlight. A fisherman paused quietly, tending nets with gentle, caring hands. Dragonflies glimmered faintly, flitting above the water's glassy surface. The scent of wet earth mixed with fragrant wildflowers in the air. Birds sang a peaceful tune, their voices steady in warm sunlight. A woven chair stood empty beside pots of flowering plants. A woman folded cloth slowly while weaving ribbons into braids. A child dipped toes cautiously into cool, rippling water's edge. Golden light played on the surface, scattering patterns on smooth stones. Crickets called softly from tall grasses near the riverbank's curve. The garden's quiet beauty was a balm to busy minds and hearts. Evening shadows lengthened, softening the world with tender, fading light. Fireflies emerged, blinking faintly in the growing dusk's cool embrace. The river's murmur was steady, a slow lullaby for resting souls. Faint whispers of stories told by gentle hands echoed in the breeze. Night settled finally, drawing a soft curtain of calm over the garden. Stars sparkled quietly in the vast, serene sky stretching overhead. Let us now drift toward the comforting hush of a quiet workshop. Wood shavings crunched softly under steady hands at work, A craftsman carved wood with patience, each movement thoughtful and calm. Sunlight filtered through dusty windows, lighting particles in golden streams. Tools rested neatly on worn benches, ready to shape simple beauty. The scent of cedar and pine filled the hushed air above polished tables. Outside, birds perched on branches, their chirps blending with distant city sounds. The craftsman paused, wiping sweat with a cloth dyed in faint indigo. Small wooden toys waited patiently on shelves, smooth and warm to the touch. A cat slept curled beneath a workbench, dreaming in tranquil silence. The rhythm of carving was steady, a tender dance of creation. Afternoon light softened the edges of rough boards being shaped with love. The craftsman hummed softly, a low tune matching measured strokes. Finished pieces rested calmly, ready to bring joy to quiet homes. Outside, passers-by glanced in with gentle smiles, admiring the peaceful craft. Evening approached with a mellow glow, tinting dust motes with amber hues. Lamps were lit, throwing steady pools of light across the quiet space. The day's work ended, replaced by the soft hush of rest. The workshop settled into calm, a sanctuary of slow, tender making. Let us now drift toward the serenity of a courtyard garden. Courtyards were carved from stone, cool beneath the afternoon sun. Fountains bubbled softly, their presence a steady, calming sound. Potted geraniums and jasmine filled corners with gentle color and scent. Benches offered quiet places for reflection beneath vine-covered trellises. Soft breezes carried the faint rustle of leaves in tender whispers. A family sat together, sharing tea from delicate porcelain cups. The aroma of rosewater mingled with mint, sweet and refreshing. Children played nearby, their motions slow, their laughter a mellow thread. Old men watched quietly, sharing words steeped in calm memory. The sun cast long shadows, warming cool stone in a soft embrace. Birds fluttered in gentle arcs, returning again and again to their nests. Lanterns hung from olive branches, waiting for dusk's softly folded light. Evening arrived with a faint coolness, soothing the day's last warmth. Stars blinked gently overhead, quiet witnesses to the courtyard's peace. The family prepared for night with measured steps and tender smiles. Blankets and cushions were gathered, promises of rest in their folds. The courtyard hummed a calm lullaby as night deepened its cover. Soft whispers of prayers rose under the serene sky's faint watch. Let us now drift toward the tender moments of morning prayers. At dawn, gentle sounds began in quiet rooms and open courtyards. The faint rustle of silk and cotton mixed with early bird calls. Families rose steadily, folding rugs and clothing with tender care. Lanterns were extinguished softly, leaving warm shadows in their stead. Women arranged fresh flowers near small altars, fragrant and bright. Men and women murmured prayers, voices calm and steady in the chill. The sky lightened slowly, painting the world in pale blush tones. Hands rose and fell in measured rhythm, joined in humble devotion. The scent of incense blended with the crispness of morning air. Steps traced familiar paths toward quiet mosques with cool marble floors. The community gathered, sharing moments of peace before the day's busyness. Prayer rugs spread patiently, waiting for feet to find their places. The stillness of the hour enveloped the souls present in gentle comfort. Sunlight filtered through stained glass, casting mellow colors on smooth walls. Voices rose softly, blending into a calm and steady harmony. Eyes closed, heart settled, breathed in the room's steady tranquility. Morning prayers became a slow dance of faith and peaceful reflection. Outside, the city stirred with life, but inside remained tender stillness. The world felt held, suspended in a moment of serene balance. Let us now drift toward the faint glow of evening lamps at home. Lanterns hanging from wooden beams cast warm halos in quiet rooms. A woman folded linens on a low table, hands moving with calm care. Children brushed hair softly, the sound a tender hum in the night. The scent of dried lavender filled the air, inviting peaceful rest. Soft cushions were arranged in cozy corners near a glowing hearth. A kettle simmered quietly, ready for a night tea with gentle herbs. The household moved with steady ease, winding down from the day's warmth. Footsteps faded into silence as doors closed with measured gentleness. Outside, the stars shone faintly, silver pinpricks in a deep blue sky. Walls absorbed the stillness, holding tight to the night's tender embrace. Hands passed down stories in quiet voices, weaving comfort and calm. The crackling fire murmured softly, weaving warmth into the cool air. A father read from a well-loved book, letters lighting up sleepy eyes. Blankets were pulled up with tender folds, wrapping dreams in satin folds. Whispers of prayers blended softly with the rustle of curtains in the breeze. Night deepened steadily, enfolding the home in a slow, peaceful breath. The quiet glow of lamps was a gentle beacon against the dark. Silence grew rich and mellow, a balm for tired hearts and minds. Morning would come again, but for now, rest was deep and sure. Let us now drift gently to the muted calm of a quiet port. Boats rested quietly in a harbor embraced by gentle hills. Soft waves lapped steadily against weathered wooden docks and fishing nets. Seagulls called faintly, their voices carried lightly over the sea's breath. Fishermen's families prepared light meals in small homes near the shore. The scent of salt mixed with fresh herbs drying in woven baskets. Soft trade echoed from nearby stalls, offering fresh fish and warm bread. Small children played beneath the shade of palm trees and sun-warmed stones. Lanterns hung from boats, flickering steadily in anticipation of night. The harbor was calm, a slow heartbeat in the rhythm of the sea. Fishermen mended nets with tender care, their hands steady and sure. Evening tides brought peace, carrying coolness and whispered promises of rest. Breezes moved gently through open windows, calming homes with their touch. Seals occasionally popped up, their heads breaking the water's serene surface. Families gathered on quiet porches, sharing stories of bright days and calm seas. The glow of dusk softened all edges, setting the world in a mellow haze. Stars blinked faintly above, reflecting like quiet jewels on dark waters. The harbor sighed with contentment as night wrapped it in a still embrace. Lanterns dimmed softly, lights twinkling like earthbound stars in silent grace. Let us now drift toward the peaceful routine of a farmstead at evening. Chickens clucked quietly as the sun dipped behind distant hills. A farmer gathered eggs with steady hands in an old, worn basket.
Cows ambled slowly to evening stalls,
Their breath warm in the cooling air. The scent of hay and fresh earth filled barns and quiet yards. Women prepared simple meals, chopping vegetables with tender, rhythmic motions. Smoke from the hearth curled faintly through open windows and doorways. Children washed hands in cool water drawn carefully from wooden barrels. Lanterns lit porches, casting mellow light on well-trodden paths. Animals settled in for the night, their breathing slow and calm. The family shared meals in a stone-walled kitchen bathed in amber glow. Old stories were told in soft voices, accompanied by the crackle of fire. Outside, the night deepened slowly, enveloping the farm in velvet darkness. Stars twinkled faintly, guardians of dreams under an endless sky. The earth held its breath in peaceful slumber, resting for the dawn. The farmstead's heart beat steady, a quiet drum in the night's embrace. Let us now drift gently toward the tender hush of a city bathhouse. Warm water filled marble pools with steady streams and gentle ripples. People moved calmly, sharing soft laughter in the steam and mellow light. Soap and oils were massaged with careful hands, easing tired muscles. Fragrant flowers floated with quiet grace on the water's surface. Cushions lined marble benches, inviting rest and quiet meditation. Faint echoes of flowing water mingled with soft conversation and hushed songs. Teachers and students gathered, exchanging knowledge with steady, respectful tones. A cat dozed peacefully beside a small, tiled fountain, protected from bustle. The warmth wrapped around visitors, holding them in a steady embrace. Outside, gardens bloomed softly, their fragrance drifting through open windows. The scent of rose and sandalwood mingled in the calming, steamy air. Evening shadows deepened, lanterns casting a soft glow on polished stone. Visitors prepared to leave with relaxed smiles and soothed hearts. Quiet steps echoed on mosaic floors, a tender farewell to the day. The baths fell silent, waiting patiently for the next gentle gathering. The night air cooled slowly, carrying the faint murmur of distant prayers. Stars gleamed above, lighting the city's calm, sleeping silhouette. Let us now drift toward a small workshop where weaving takes place. Baskets of dyed wool and silk sat quietly near wooden looms. Hands worked with steady rhythm, weaving threads into calm patterns. The workshop smelled faintly of dyed fabric and polished wood. Beams of sunlight filtered softly through small windows and open doors. The weaver's fingers moved thoughtfully, creating cloth with tender care. Soft music hummed in the background, blending with the gentle clack of loom. Pieces of cloth hung neatly, each telling a quiet story in color. A cat brushed against tired feet, weaving itself into the calm scene. Outside, birds fluttered among vines, twining gently around weathered walls. The weaver paused, stretching slowly before returning to the methodical craft. Threads intertwined like whispered secrets, held in steady, loving bonds. A cup of tea sat nearby, cooling slowly with peaceful patience. The day's work was a melody of color and texture, slow and deep. As twilight came, lamps were lit, casting soft pools of amber light. The weaver folded finished cloth with careful grace, readying for rest. Evening settled softly over woven patterns and empty baskets alike. The calm of creation stayed long after hands had ceased their work. Let us now drift toward a serene afternoon in a hidden garden courtyard.
Sunlight spilled warmly through open arches into lush garden courtyards.
Fountains whispered their steady song over smooth stones and blooming flowers. Fragrant bushes of orange blossoms swayed slowly in a balmy breeze.
Paths wound gently through beds of lavender,
Sage, and fragrant thyme. A fountain's gentle splash gave rhythm to the quiet afternoon hush. Benches, shaded by vines, invited soft rest and tender reflection. A quiet conversation unfolded between friends beneath a canopy of leaves. The scent of ripe figs mingled faintly with the warm garden air. Butterflies danced delicately from flower to flower in silent delight.
tiled walls bore stories of past days, their colors muted and sweet. Birds sang softly, their melodies weaving with the murmurs of leaves.
A cat curled lazily near a sunbeam, eyes half closed in contentment. Shadows shifted slowly as the sun traveled toward the late afternoon.
Scattered petals lay gently on cobblestones,
Kissed by a cooling breeze. A cup of tea rested on a small table, warmed by the sun's touch.
quiet laughter mingled with the faint rustle of fabric
and movement. The garden breathed deeply, alive with serene, timeless beauty. Evening approached with a calm glow, softening edges and colors. The courtyard promised rest, its stillness a tender lullaby for all. Let us now drift toward the mild warmth of a modest kitchen at dusk. Candles flickered gently on low tables near earthenware pots. A woman peeled ripe vegetables with slow, precise movements of care. The aroma of cooking herbs floated softly through the tender kitchen air. Bread rested warm in woven baskets ready to accompany the meal. Chickpeas and lentils simmered quietly in heavy pots perched on the fire. A cat rubbed softly against ankles, purring tenderly for attention. A soft breeze came through open windows, carrying faint scents of jasmine. The family gathered around the table, voices hushed and calm in twilight. Hands passed plates slowly, filled with simple yet nourishing food. The glow of the fire cast long, mellow shadows on textured walls. A pot of tea steamed gently, inviting quiet cups and thoughtful sips. Evening prayers whispered quietly, folded into the gentle hum of dinner. Laughter was soft, blending naturally with the crackling fire's faint song. After the meal,
The kitchen emptied slowly, dishes carved from shared love. The hearth burned low, its warmth a final embrace before night's rest. Outside, stars began to glimmer faintly, soft guides in the cooling dark. Windows framed fading light, a promise of tomorrow's calm beginning. The kitchen settled into peace, a quiet heart of the household. Let us now drift gently toward the slow unfolding of dawn again. Mist rose softly from quiet fields as the world stretched its limbs. Birds began their soft melodies, greeting the day with steady songs. Farmers rose with faint smiles, ready for the slow rhythm of work. Hands gathered freshly picked herbs, fragrant and cool, with morning dew. A baker's fire pulsed warmly, baking bread to fill waiting baskets. Children ran barefoot on soft grass, their laughter a sweet morning breeze. Fishermen prepared simple nets along calm riverbanks, steady in their ways. Mothers wove clothes and braided hair with patient, loving hands. Markets began to stir with quiet energy under pale dawn's glow. The scent of fresh coffee mingled with honey and warm, baked bread. Pigeons cooed softly from ledges, their gentle sounds blending with morning life. Sunlight filtered gently through leaves, casting warm patterns on earthen paths. Neighbors greeted each other with nods, friendly eyes, and slow waves. The day unfolded as a quiet dance of careful, tender routines. Slow moments were cherished between tasks, a pause full of serene grace. The land breathed calm with every slow, deliberate movement of its people. Evening would come again, but for now, life moved in steady peace. Let us now drift toward the hushed beauty of a library's quiet hours. Books lined shelves, tall and sturdy in soft-lit rooms of calm repose. Readers sat comfortably in chairs carved from smooth, polished wood. Pages were turned slowly, words savored in quiet companionship. A single candle flickered beside notes and scrolls, carefully studied. The scent of old paper and leather filled the tranquil stillness. Outside, rain whispered gently against windows, a tender lullaby to all. Scholars wrote with steady hands, their minds slow and deeply focused. Footsteps on thick carpets were muffled, as if the room breathed with time. Scrolls of poetry and history rested peacefully on polished desks. The world beyond was hushed here, suspended in the gentle fold of thought. Soft conversations about ideas and discoveries were shared in tender tones. A cat napped in a sunbeam, its warmth a soft presence nearby. Light filtered through stained glass,
painting mellow hues on ancient walls.
The library was a sanctuary for quiet minds and dreaming souls.
Evening deepened slowly, wrapping the room in twilight's calm embrace. Hands paused their work as candlelight danced and shadows gently lengthened. Outside, stars waited, twinkling faintly until morning's gentle return. Let us now drift toward the subtle warmth of a family's evening meal.
A low table was set with simple dishes, prepared with steady hands.
Steam rose gently from bowls filled with rice, pulses, and tender greens. Flatbreads lay wrapped in cloth, soft and warm from the baking stone. Fruits, olives, and cheeses offered gentle contrasts in color and taste.
Children sat close, their eyes bright with quiet anticipation.
The room was filled with the aroma of cinnamon, honey, and fresh mint. Soft voices blended in conversation, sharing stories like woven threads.
Hands reached slowly across the table, offering help and small smiles.
The firelight flickered, casting mellow shadows on painted, aged walls. After the meal, bowls were cleared with tender care and quiet thanks. Family members settled near the hearth, their laughter a steady hum. The night deepened softly, bringing peace to tired bodies and hearts.
Blankets were gathered, pulling close against the cool breath of dusk.
Outside, stars shone faintly, distant and steady guardians of dreams. The house embraced the stillness, a haven of calm and warmth. Let us now drift toward the faint, cozy glow of candlelit streets.
Lanterns hung from wrought iron hooks, their flames gentle and steady.
Shadows danced lightly on the cobblestones, flickering with tender motion. Footsteps echoed softly, blending with the night's cool, embracing silence. Windows glowed warmly, curtains drawn back to invite soothing moonlight. Neighbors exchanged quiet greetings, their eyes reflecting shared calmness. The scent of jasmine and orange blossom filled the gentle night air. Sleep settled slowly over homes, nestled beneath rolling hills and olive groves.
Cats prowled silently,
weaving through narrow alleys in search of rest. The rhythm of quiet life slowed to a steady, mellow pace.
Stars sprinkled the sky like silver dust over the tranquil town. Lanterns dimmed one by one, their lights fading into the sleeping dark.
The world breathed softly, tucked beneath a canopy of tender stars.
Quiet prayers passed whispered lips, lifting hopes into the calm night.
Peace wrapped around each doorway, a warm, steady embrace of rest. Let us now drift gently toward the soft calm of morning gardens. Dew glittered faintly on broad leaves as the sun stretched awake. Morning blooms opened slowly, releasing delicate scents into the cool air. The whisper of soft footsteps stirred gently through the shaded garden paths. Birds balanced lightly on branches, their songs of serene welcome to day. Pots of basil, mint, and thyme brightened corners with fragrant splendor. A gardener tended tender shoots with careful and steady movements. Wind tinkled softly through wind chimes hung among climbing roses and vines. A stone bench invited quiet reflection beneath the shade of a fig tree. Sunlight spilled warmly across ancient tiles, warming toes and quiet thoughts. Butterflies fluttered faintly, adding soft color to peaceful green spaces. The garden was alive with calm energy, steady and full of gentle life. Small fountains bubbled like lullabies in the sanctuary of stillness. Woven baskets filled patiently with fresh herbs from the fragrant earth. Evening visitors left softly, their steps fading on the gravel paths. The garden held its breath, waiting for night's tender return and peace. Let us now drift toward the steady rhythm of home life in the evening. Lanterns glowed softly in humble homes filled with warmth and quiet light. Families gathered slowly in rooms scented faintly with wood smoke and herbs. The clatter of dishes mixed gently with low voices and slow laughter. Winter blankets were folded neatly, ready to warm cold, tired bodies. The hearth gave off a steady, comforting heat throughout the simple rooms. A mother wrapped a child's hands in soft cloth, whispering gentle words. Time moved slowly, measured by the steady ticking of an old clock. Hands embroidered quietly, weaving stories with thread as night deepened. A father read soft tales while seated near flickering candlelight. Small feet traced patterns on the floor, stilled by the approach of sleep. Voices hushed, fading to gentle murmurs and tender goodnights. Eyes closed softly, surrendering to the deep, enveloping calm of rest. The world outside grew distant, a silent witness to peaceful dreams. Quiet breaths synchronized like a lullaby sung by the house itself. Such gentle routines wrapped all within a soothing, steady cadence of life. The night's cool arms cradled the home as sleep blossomed sweetly within. Let us now drift toward the soft serenity of a market at dawn. Faint light brushed rooftops as the market slowly stirred awake anew. Stacks of fresh vegetables glowed softly beneath spreading canvas awnings. Early sellers arranged their displays with tender care and steady hands. Warm bread lined shelves, sending faint, inviting scents through morning air. Olives glistened quietly in bowls, rich with rich, mellow oils. The gentle hum of conversation rose slowly near fragrant spice stalls. Baskets of dried fruits offered sweet temptations in quiet counts. Honey dripped softly from spoons, its golden hues a warm delight. The river nearby flowed steadily, its murmur adding calm background music. Soft footsteps of early customers echoed gently along cobblestone lanes. Coffee was brewed with mindful care in a small tea house near the square. Quiet laughter fizzed like gentle bubbles among friends sharing simple joys. Sunlight filtered faintly through leaves of nearby trees, dappling wares below. Birds sang low, their melodies stitching peaceful threads into the morning fabric. The market's slow heartbeat was a steady rhythm of tender routine. As the sun climbed, activity softened, blending into a warm afternoon hush. The day's quiet pulse carried on gently, wrapped in the embrace of time. Let us now drift toward the restful calm of a small village churchyard. Shadows stretched long across weathered stones adorned with blooming flowers. A cool breeze whispered faint hymns through ancient olive trees and cypresses. Villagers gathered softly beside worn benches, their voices a calm murmur. The scent of incense mingled with the earth after a gentle morning rain. Sunlight filtered through stained glass, painting soft colors on cool stone floors. Small children played quietly nearby, their laughter tucked beneath the quiet prayers. Elderly hands tended bouquets of wildflowers placed gently in stone vessels. Soft songs rose like a faint breeze, weaving peace into the still air. A single bell tolled steady, its sound mellow and full of gentle grace. Paths were lined with flowering shrubs, their blossoms nodding in tranquil rhythm. The churchyard was a sanctuary of tender reflection in the heart of town. Families shared slow moments, linking past and present with quiet understanding. Birds settled into branches, their wings folding softly as night approached. Evening light softened the edges of stone walls and leafy canopies. Lanterns were lit carefully, casting mellow pools of gold on worn paths. The community breathed together, bound by calm, steady faith and tradition. Let us now drift toward the smooth calm of a potter's quiet studio. Clay rested cool and moist on a revolving wooden wheel. The potter's hands shaped vessels with slow deliberate, firm motions. Soft dust of dried clay whispered as fingers traced curved edges. Sunlight streamed through small windows, highlighting flecks of fine glitter. Bowls and jars waited patiently on shelves, each holding quiet promise. A small brush painted delicate patterns with calm, practiced strokes. The room smelled faintly of wet earth and warm hearth smoke. Tools lay neatly beside the wheel, ready to craft gentle beauty. A cat watched, tail flicking softly, with faint anticipation of rest.
Shards of broken pots were swept up with steady, gentle strokes.
Evening shadows crept slowly, softening the work table's fine details. Lamps were lit with care, casting soft glows on smooth curves. The potter paused, breathing slowly before beginning again with tender focus. Finished pieces gleamed under the lamp's mellow light, waiting to be treasured. The studio quieted with the night, holding its breath in calm stillness. Let us now drift toward the friendly warmth of a coffee house at dusk. Glasses clinked softly on wooden tables, bathed in gentle lamplight. The rich scent of coffee mingled with faint notes of cinnamon and cardamom. Smoky wisps from brazier fires curled upward in slow motion. Men and women sat together, voices low and steady, sharing quiet tales. Sand-woven rugs offered soft seats beneath walls adorned with intricate tiles. A young boy moved quietly, refilling cups with careful hands and steady steps. Music floated gently from a distant lute, pressing softness into the evening air. The flicker of candles played patterns on faces calm and content. Steam rose slowly from cups, carrying warm comfort to searching lips. Laughter rippled lightly, blending with the mellow cadence of storytelling. Outside, the city's pulse slowed, folding itself into tender shadows. Lanterns burned steadily, guiding the way through winding, dusk-lit streets. The coffee house breathed deep, a sanctuary of calm and lingering scents. Night wrapped its arms around the world, soft and embracing as dreams. Let us now drift gently toward the stillness of a modest bedroom. Soft linens rustled faintly as hands prepared beds with tender folds. A mother's voice hummed a song whispered through the evening's embrace. The room glowed warmly with lamps nestled on low wooden tables. Curtains swayed with a mild breeze coming through open latticed windows. A cat purred quietly on a proudly woven rug near the hearth. Family portraits hung softly,
their faces holding quiet memories of love. The scent of dried flowers filled a delicate vase by the bedside. Books rested calmly, pages held in place by slender bookmarks. Eyes grew heavy as the night deepened, inviting dreams and rest. The house outside settled into silence, a steady guardian of sleep. Blankets were pulled up, slow and sure, wrapping warmth around each soul. Soft breaths echoed on quiet floors, a lullaby of peace and calm. The moonlight bathed the room in gentle silver, a soft nighttime glow. As sleep took hold, the world outside faded to tender shadow and stillness. Let us now drift toward the early morning calm of a riverside village. Mist rose faintly over roofs and the gentle flow of the river. Locks of hair glistened with dew as children prepared for another day. Old men sat near benches, sipping tea and exchanging slow smiles. Fishermen checked their boats calmly, nets folded with careful hands. Roosters crowed low and steady, signaling a peaceful start without hurry. Mothers carried baskets of fresh fruit and bread toward the slow awakening market. The smell of wet earth and warm herbs mingled with river breeze. Soft footsteps echoed along stone paths as neighbors greeted one another gently. The river itself seemed to breathe with quiet strength beneath early light. Flowers bloomed among rocks and banks, their colors muted and still. The scent of fresh coffee and sweet pastries awaited first customers. The village stirred calmly, wrapped in the gentle rhythms of home. Children's laughter blended with distant voices and the lapping of gentle waves. Lanterns were extinguished, and windows opened wide to the crisp morning. The day began under a serene sky, promising tenderness and steady pace. Let us now drift toward the mellow warmth of a quiet kitchen at midday. Pots simmered quietly on stoves fueled by gentle, crackling fires. Chopped vegetables and fragrant herbs waited to become slow-cooked dishes. Flatbreads baked, their scent rising softly to meet soft afternoon light. A cooling jar of yogurt stood near bowls of fresh cucumbers and mint. Women moved with steady purpose, preparing food with care in soft motions. A cat stretched leisurely near a shaded window seat, eyes half closed. Children played in shaded courtyards, their voices low and full of delight. The scent of roasted eggplant and garlic filled the warm kitchen air. Clay pitchers held cool water, beads of condensation catching the gentle sun. Tables were set with quiet care, bowls and plates aligned with calm precision. A breeze drifted in faintly, carrying the murmur of distant city life. The family gathered slowly, sharing meals flavored with history and affection. Laughter rose softly, like a tender song carried through sunlit rooms. The afternoon waned with the promise of rest and simple pleasures. Evening steps followed, measured and calm, as work slowed and day softened. Let us now drift toward the peaceful flow of prayer at twilight. The call to prayer rose low and steady above rooftops and minarets. Families gathered in homes and mosques, voices blending into a calm chorus. Carpets were spread with deliberate care on cool marble floors. Soft light glowed from lanterns hung gently in arched windows and doorways. The scent of burning incense curled, wrapping quiet moments in warm embrace. Prayer beads clicked softly between fingers, a rhythmic, tender sound. Eyes closed in reverence. Breaths deepened in the still air of evening. Curtains fluttered faintly as a mild breeze wandered the silent streets. Hushed prayers wove into the fabric of the night, steady and slow. Voices moved like gentle waves, rising and falling with quiet grace. The world outside slowed, folding into the embrace of deep calm. Stars twinkled faintly, steady watchers over peaceful hearts and resting homes. After the prayers, soft footsteps echoed softly through shadowed, cool alleys. Lanterns flickered on walls as families retreated to warm rooms and beds. The night deepened, wrapped in quiet holiness and tender stillness. Let us now drift gently toward the first light filtering through bedroom curtains. Sunlight filtered softly over embroidered drapes and wooden window frames. Birds sang gentle greetings as the household stirred from steady slumber. Eyes opened slowly, stretching limbs bathed in morning's tender glow. The aroma of fresh bread twined softly with the scent of brewing tea. Children yawned and smiled quietly, their morning calm a gentle gift. Quiet footsteps padded across floors, beginning the day with peaceful harmony. Women prepared modest meals, their movements fluent and full of love. The world outside slowly brightened, wrapped in familiar sounds and smells. Neighbors began their routines, exchanging greetings with steady, warm smiles. The rhythm of home and village beat softly in the gentle dawn. Laundry swayed on lines, kissed by mild breezes and warming light. Some sat together, sharing quiet moments before the world fully awoke. The day stretched ahead, promising gentle hours and soft, steady comforts. Let us now drift toward the slow, tender flow of afternoon tea. Tea was brewed with careful patience, leaves steeped in warm water. Cups were filled and passed quietly among small gatherings of friends. The scent of rose and mint blended with the soft clink of porcelain. Soft conversation unfolded in low tones, full of steady kindness. Outside, gardens bloomed faintly, their colors muted by warm afternoon light. A cat purred on a windowsill, basking in the sun's mild beams. Sugar cubes sweetened each sip, melting slowly with calm promise. Laughter rose gently, like the slow swell of a quiet tide. The sound of leaves rustling mingled with soft voices and cup clinks. Sunlight shifted, casting mellow patterns on tabletops and cushions beneath trees. Some wrote letters in delicate script, steady hands tracing fond words. The world felt paused, caught in a moment of warm, tender grace. Evening would come soon, but for now, peace was a steady companion. Let us now drift gently toward the soft hush of twilight gardens once more. Shrubs and vines darkened slowly under a sky painted with fading light. Lamps were lit with steady hands, their glow mild and inviting. Pathways lined with blooming jasmine and orange blossoms gave off soft fragrance. A breeze whispered quietly, moving petals and leaves in tender waves. Benches nestled beneath trellises beckoned weary souls to quiet repose. Children's laughter dwindled, replaced by the faint murmur of evening prayer. Fountains sang steady, rhythmic tunes amidst the settling hush of night. A cat traced shadows along stone walls, light paws dancing through dark. Stars blinked faintly, casting slow, shimmering patterns on garden walls. The garden's calm embraced all who wandered its peaceful, fragrant paths. Lanterns glowed softly, casting tender light on blossoming petals and leaves. The night breathed deeply, wrapped in the timeless arms of gentle repose. Let us now drift toward a simple meal shared in soft candlelight. Bowls were filled with rich stews of lentils and tender vegetables. Flatbread steamed beside olives and fresh cheeses on worn wooden trays. Tea was poured slowly, steamed cups warming cold fingers with gentle heat. Families gathered close, voices low and warm with soft affection. Candles flickered, their flames steady despite the occasional calming breeze. Hands passed dishes patiently, sharing meals crafted with slow, loving care. The scent of herbs and spices wrapped the room in tender warmth. Soft laughter mingled with the crackle of fire and quiet song.
Evening settled gently, folding time into a slow, peaceful rhythm. The night's cool breath invited rest beneath embroidered blankets and soft pillows. Stories passed quietly through generations, whispered in gentle tones of love. Outside, the stars watched silently. The world bathed in calm, steady light. Morning would come again slowly, with promises of days' tender embraces. This is a moment in the long, soft history of a gentle empire. Let us now drift toward the peaceful dawn of another calm, new day. Dawn broke softly over the quiet streets of a sleepy town. Morning light touched the tiled roofs with a warm, golden hue. Windows opened to the fresh, cool air, inviting gentle breezes in. Inside, the aroma of freshly brewed tea filled the humble rooms. Families stirred with steady movements, preparing for the day ahead. Children's yawns stretched slowly, softly welcoming the morning's embrace. The courtyard's old fig tree rustled lightly in the tender dawn wind. A cat stretched languidly on sun-warmed stones, purring low and steady. Bread baking in simple ovens sent faint wisps of inviting scent. Neighbors exchanged quiet greetings, their smiles calm and sincere. Lanterns hung still, waiting for evening's return beneath the silent sky. The rhythmic clatter of pottery filled the market's early calm. Vendors arranged colorful fruits in neat rows beneath shaded awnings. Pomegranates glowed with deep red against the mellow light of morning. Dates and figs rested gently in woven baskets on humble wooden stands. The faint buzz of bees trailed amidst blooms outside the stone walls. Handcrafted textiles swayed softly, touched by the cool, gentle breeze. People moved with measured steps, each gesture steady and purposeful. A woman carefully poured olive oil into a clay jar with care. Small children chased butterflies through fields of wild grass and flowers. The morning unfolded with tender routine, each moment rich with calm. Hummingbirds dipped gracefully near fragrant blossoms, kissed by sunlight. Softly, the town awoke, wrapped in the warm quilt of a new day. From here, we shift to the humble homes where families lived. In cozy rooms, cushions lined the floor beneath carved wooden shelves. Soft rugs covered cool stone, inviting quiet footsteps and warm gatherings. Clay lamps glowed faintly, their flames steady against evening's early veil. Fresh herbs hung from ceiling beams, their scents a quiet presence. A mother folded embroidered cloth with patient hands in a tender rhythm. A father smoothed a worn book's cover, reflecting on stories told before. Petals from dried roses dusted a corner shelf, pale and delicate. Small, round tables bore bowls of gentle stew, simmering slowly in warmth. Linen curtains fluttered with a hushed sound in the soft evening breeze. The scent of wild jasmine drifted into rooms through open doorways. Children played quietly on woven mats, their laughter a gentle murmur. Evenings were spent stitching patterns of flowers and stars with steady fingers.
Chickens clucked softly outside, settling down beneath the fading serene light.
The quiet of the house was a tender blanket around all within. Now we wander toward the slow, steady heartbeat of the countryside. Meadows stretched wide, kissed by the early, dewy light of morning. Sheep grazed calmly upon grassy hills, their woolly forms resting in peace. A thin stream traced pale silver patterns among stones, whispering low sounds. Farmers moved with gentle ease, their tools resting beside soft soil. Olive trees stood tall, leaves shimmering in a hushed, warm breeze. The simple rhythm of seasons marked time in this slow, quiet life. At dawn, a rooster's faint crow drifted faintly across serene fields. Sunflowers turned their golden heads slowly toward the mellow warmth above. A shepherd hummed a steady tune as he watched over his flock. Wild herbs swayed tenderly in the open air, fragrant and free. Fields of wheat nodded softly in unhurried waves beneath the sky. Evening brought a peaceful calm, stars beginning to twinkle faintly overhead. We now glide gently to the market's subtle bustle at midday. Artisans sat side by side, shaping clay with patient hands and steady eyes. Silks dyed in pale hues hung quietly, catching diffused light in warm folds. Spices piled in wooden bowls released sweet, mellow scents in the air. Delicate copper pots reflected faint sunshine in their polished surfaces. A baker's hands pressed dough slowly, folding in tender care and warmth. Crisp flatbreads baked on stones sent faint smoke curling into the blue sky. Vendors' voices blended softly, trading goods with calm smiles and bowed heads. Children picked small figs from baskets kept low beside shaded stalls. Threads of saffron, cinnamon, and dried rose petals rested in neat piles. A soft breeze carried hushed laughter and low conversations between shaded tents. Honey glistened sweet and thick in small clay jars, catching gentle light. Bundles of fresh mint and parsley offered coolness in the warm midday air. Market cats prowled quietly beneath tables, eyes gleaming with calm curiosity. The sun passed steadily overhead, bathing the square in mellow brightness. From here, we drift toward the riverbanks, where water flows slowly by. Willows bowed gracefully over the gently moving, sparkling water surface. A fisherman's boat rocked faintly, tethered with tender knots to a worn post. Reeds whispered softly with the touch of the steady, warm breeze. The smell of fresh water mixed with the scent of blooming lotus flowers. Groups sat by the shore, children dipping toes in the cool, clear stream. Elderly women pounded herbs, their steady rhythm blending with the river's hum. Water jugs balanced on heads gleamed softly beneath the mellow afternoon sun. Fishermen mended nets with quiet concentration, fingers tracing familiar, tender patterns. Dragonflies flitted low, casting delicate shadows on the still, shimmering water. Families picnicked under the shade of tall trees, sharing bread and soft cheese. Smoke from small fires curled faintly, mingling with the fresh scent of grass. The river's calm flow was a lullaby in the warm, peaceful afternoon. Now we wander softly to a bustling but mellow urban courtyard. Children chased each other slowly around ancient fountains, water splashing hushed drops. Vendors arranged rugs and pottery beneath leafy canopies, colors blending gently. Elderly men gathered on stone benches, their quiet talk full of tender memories. A woman carried a basket of fresh herbs balanced with steady poise. The scent of jasmine and rosewater filled air between narrow, winding alleys. A gentle wind stirred skirts, and lanterns hung along delicate wooden beams. Glassmakers molded fragile beads and bottles, each movement calm and precise. Street musicians played soft tunes on flutes and lutes, melodies faint and warm. Bread sellers offered plump loaves, still warm from ovens and softly steaming. The clink of coins exchanged hands with respectful, gentle nods and smiles. Lantern light began spreading mellow hues as afternoon faded to early evening. A mother called her children softly, her voice a calm, familiar hum. We step now into the rhythm of a tranquil bathhouse's warmth. Steam rose slowly from stone basins, wrapping the space in quiet comfort. Gentle hands massaged tired muscles with fragrant oils and steady strokes. Soft laughter echoed lightly beneath domed ceilings, blending with trickling springs. Tiles glistened faintly, reflecting the mellow candlelight's warm, steady glow. Patrons reclined on smooth marble, breathing calmly in the hushed, warm air. The scent of rosewater mingled with faint traces of herbs and earth. Water dripped quietly from carved faucets, a steady, soothing sound. Small fountains bubbled gently, creating a timeless song of stillness and peace. Attendants moved with tender care, their gestures calm and unhurried.
Soft cotton robes smelled faint of lavender and mint, inviting rest. Outside, twilight deepened slowly, stars beginning to glimmer serene and faint. We glide gently now toward the silent, moonlit gardens of a palace. Fragrant orange blossoms cast delicate shadows beneath the pale, steady moonlight. Paths lined with smooth stones led quietly through beds of rich flowers. A faint breeze carried whispers of jasmine and soft murmurs of night birds. Tall cypresses stood like serene sentinels, guarding the peaceful stillness. Ornate fountains trickled faint melodies, their water shimmering in steady arcs. Silk curtains fluttered softly from open windows, blending inside with the night air. Lanterns dangled low, their flames dancing mellow, steady rhythms in the dark. Soft cushions rested on carved stone benches, inviting repose beneath plumeria trees. The sweet murmur of distant conversation floated gently through moonlit corridors. Crickets sang low, their steady song a soothing backdrop to the night's calm. The palace gardens held a timeless peace beneath the luminous, tender sky. From here, we move to the humble kitchen fires that warm every home. Coals glowed softly, casting gentle light upon clay pots simmering quietly. Women stirred thick stews, their hands moving with steady care and calm joy. The scent of dried thyme and cumin rose slowly from bubbling cauldrons. Fresh flatbreads were pulled from stone ovens, warm and slightly crisp around edges. Chopped vegetables rested in earthen bowls, colors muted in the mellow glow. Children sat cross-legged, watching bread being torn slowly into warm, tender pieces. Soft laughter rose during quiet meals shared beneath low, beamed ceilings. The warmth of the hearth mingled with the faint aroma of roasting eggplants. A steady hum of daily life coursed softly through each comfortable kitchen. After meals, tea was brewed with fragrant leaves, steeped with tender patience. Steam curled from delicate cups, inviting gentle sips to end the day. Evening's hush settled once more in kitchens, homes glowing with steady warmth. We continue now into the calm world of craftsmen and their steady art. Potters shaped cool clay with patient, circular motions in hands skilled and sure. Weavers worked at wooden looms, threads intertwining in soft, shimmering patterns.
Metalworkers filed and polished copper softly, catching faint glimmers in steady light. Carpenters carved delicate motifs in wood, their strokes quiet and intentional. Each workshop held the slow rhythm of steady, tender craftsmanship. Tools rested gently between tasks, awaiting soft hands to guide them again. Faint scents of linseed oil and heated metal filled the mellow workspaces. Artisans offered their creations with humble, calm smiles and soft nods. By evening, workshops dimmed, shadows deepening peacefully beneath fading, tender light. Now we move gently to the quiet rhythm of religious study halls. Men and women gathered quietly, reading ancient texts by soft lamplight. Pages turned with calm reverence, voices whispering lessons in steady tones. The scent of aged paper and ink hovered in the serene, hushed rooms. Small wooden desks held scrolls carefully, each letter a thought held tenderly. Candles flickered low, casting steady, warm pools of light on focused faces. Lessons passed slowly from teacher to student, knowledge flowing in quiet streams. Outside, garden paths lay still beneath soft shadows and mild evening air. This place was a sanctuary of calm, learning, and reflective silence. We softly drift now toward the gentle beauty of the Empire's farmlands. Fields stretched vast and golden under the steady gaze of afternoon sun. Farmhouses stood with humble pride among olive groves and blooming almond trees. Smoke from small hearths curled tenderly against the clear, calm sky. Farmers carried water slowly in earthen vessels to thirsty garden beds. Chickens scratched the earth beneath gnarled fig trees, moving with steady quiet. Harvest baskets were filled with tender grapes, shining dark and cool in palms. The faint murmur of bees visiting blossoms filled the warm, peaceful air. Evenings here held a calm stillness, punctuated only by a soft breeze. Moonlight draped fields with a faint glow, softening edges and shapes with calm. We glide next, softly, to the serene flow of daily caravan travel. Camels stepped slowly on warm dust, their steady pace a rhythmic lullaby. Traders moved gently through hills, resting beneath spreading acacias with calm ease. Ropes were loosened carefully, tents raised in shaded, quiet clearings. The scent of baking bread mingled with the faint smoke of evening fires. Stars sparkled tenderly overhead as travelers shared quiet stories near glowing coals. Morning brought soft light again to the steady, peaceful caravan camps.
We now pass softly to the tranquil ceremony of tea and friendship. Long copper trays held delicate glasses filled with warm amber tea. A steady hand poured slowly, the liquid catching the sunlight like mild fire. Scented steam rose in spirals from cups resting gently on embroidered cloths. Conversations moved softly, words exchanged with calm smiles and warm eyes. Honey dripped faintly from small spoons into the simmering, tender tea. Outside, orange trees cast dappled shadows, their fragrance sweet and steady. The ritual offered a moment of peace, a soft bridge between days. Slowly, the soft sound of water flowing in nearby fountains accompanied talks. Sitting side by side, friends shared stories in calm, hushed tones. Now let us lift our gaze to twilight closing over serene hills. Birds settled quietly in branching trees, feathers ruffling in the faint evening wind. Dusky colors spread gently, blending sky and earth in steady harmony. A lantern was lit softly, its glow stretching inviting fingers through cooling air. Gardens grew still, flowers closing their petals beneath the tranquil dusk. The day's warmth retreated slowly, replaced by a calm, tender coolness. Children's laughter faded to quiet humming as homes called gently at dusk. We pause now where gentle rivers meet the boundless, calm sea. Waves kissed the shore with soft, steady rhythm under silver moonlight. Fishermen pulled nets gently from shallow waters, their movements slow and familiar. Dunes stretched quiet and vast beyond the shore, wrapped in faint night hues. Salt air mingled with the faint scent of jasmine and fresh rain. Small boats rocked easily, tied with slow knots to wooden piers. Seagulls settled silently on rocks, their feathers ruffling in dim, steady breeze. The soft splash of waves was a soothing, endless lullaby beneath the stars. Near the shore, families sat around fires, sharing food and peaceful smiles. Now we move quietly to the soft sounds of evening prayer. Voices rose gently, blending in steady harmony beneath midnight's calm embrace. People knelt with measured breathing, faces serene and tender beneath low lantern glow. The faint scent of incense drifted upward, mingling with cool night air. Antique tiles reflected flickering candlelight, patterns faint and steady in quiet rooms. Steps fell lightly as worshippers moved to their peaceful rest after prayer. Outside, the city lay hushed beneath the calm, boundless night sky. We drift now toward the hushed stillness of early morning gardens.
Dew covered blossoms slowly, each droplet reflecting the first soft light. A gentle breeze stirred leaves, breathing calm life into green, tender branches. Birdsong rose faintly, weaving a steady melody through the fragrant, serene air. Paths glistened faintly under the slow climb of awakening sunbeams. Pottery water jars held cold, fresh water, resting quietly beside flower beds. A gardener traced delicate lines in earth, hands steady and full of care. Fragrant herbs were gathered softly, their leaves folding in weathered palms. Morning stretched gently, its quiet beauty a steady promise of new peace. From these gardens, we quietly flow to the twinkling expanse of starry nights. The sky was a vast canvas, dusted with shimmering, faint celestial light. Constellations told calm stories to those who rested beneath their steady glow. A warm breeze whispered softly, carrying the smell of warm earth and jasmine. Underneath, tents clustered together, shadows melting into sleepy silhouettes. The night was an old friend, wrapped in tender, everlasting serenity. Silent owls moved gently among olive branches, their feathers brushing night's quiet. As the world breathed slowly, itself wrapped in countless gentle dreams, we continue to follow the drifting, peaceful flow of time in this empire. Now, let us wander softly into a humble town where morning stirs. Smoke rose faintly from small chimneys as cooks began their day. The scent of fresh bread mingled with the sweet aroma of brewed tea. Bakers arranged warm loaves on wooden shelves, glossy with golden crusts. Women in simple, colorful dresses hummed gentle tunes while kneading dough. Nearby, children's laughter danced lightly around the courtyard's quiet stones. Men carried vessels filled with honey and olives toward the marketplace. Slow conversations floated between stalls, a calm exchange of goods and smiles. Sunlight traced tender patterns through fluttering fabric canopies above. At the water fountain, villagers paused to sip, sharing soft words and greetings. Animals wandered lazily, their steady breathing a part of life's gentle music. In homes, pots of simmering stew released warm, fragrant clouds of comfort. Old wooden doors stood open, inviting the breeze to mingle indoors. Humbled by the spent night, cats curled into soft balls near the hearth. Throughout the day, time moved with a steady, unhurried rhythm here. Evening edged toward quiet moments, the scent of jasmine growing tender. Lanterns flickered faintly in windows, casting golden hues on stone walls. Neighbors gathered to share tea, their voices hushed and full of peace. Outside, Stars re-emerged, twinkling with a serene ancient light. We now drift softly to the sound of a gentle river near a village. The stream moved with patient ease, its waters clear and serenely cool. Fishermen rested beside it, their lines draping into the water's hush. Old men shared stories in muffled tones, their smiles weathered yet warm. Children followed small boats floating gently down the winding waterways. Along the banks, reeds swayed quietly in the mild afternoon breeze. Wildflowers nodded slowly to the hum of buzzing insects nearby. Soft earth gave way beneath bare feet, cool and steady under the sun. Farms stretched out beyond, rows of barley and wheat, kissed by daylight. Here, the rhythm of living was tender and deeply connected to nature. We move gently now to the craftsman's workshop, fragrant with sawdust. A carpenter shaped wood with steady hands, each movement calm and precise. Dust motes danced like tiny fairies in the faint stream of light, indoors. Sharpened tools rested nearby, waiting patiently for the next careful stroke. The scent of cedar filled the warm, hushed space amid scattered shavings. Outside, a potter's wheel turned slowly, shaping clay as water dripped. Hands moved with loving care, crafting bowls that would hold evening meals. In this workshop, the world seemed suspended, touched by steady creativity. Sunlight slipped through latticed windows, creating tranquil patterns on earth floors. The day melted softly into twilight, bringing with it a still calm. From these quiet crafts, we float gently toward a bakery's early morning. Warmth poured from ovens, mingling with the faint scent of cardamom spice. Hands twisted and rolled dough with practiced, tender care for softness. Loaves rose steadily under cloths, bathed in the steady calm of waiting. Villagers exchanged soft smiles as fresh pastries passed from hand to hand. Tea steeped quietly in brass samovars, sending faint clouds of warmth skyward. The air buzzed faintly with the soft clink of small porcelain cups. Mornings here were delicate, wrapped in the melody of brewing warmth. Let us now wander toward an old stone bridge early in the day. Rivers cascaded beneath, their sounds gentle, steady, and eternally mellow. Sunlight glinted on rippling water, tracing a path of tender light. Birds gathered, their wings fluttering in hushed, graceful harmony above. Fishermen's nets rested patiently on wooden docks, still and waiting. Locals strolled across the arch, minds at rest beneath calm skies. The air was perfumed faintly with wet stone and fresh herbs growing nearby. Here, life meandered softly like the water, with quiet confidence. Evening shadows gathered slowly, brushing coolness over warm sunlit rocks. We drift now toward a quiet mosque, its courtyard serene and still. The faint aroma of incense filled the sheltered space with tenderness. Marble floors echoed faint whispers of slow footsteps, walking with respect. Light filtered softly through stained glass, casting colorful, mellow patterns. Prayers rose gently, blending with the softness of fluttering pigeon wings. This was a place of stillness, a refuge wrapped in steady calm. Chairs and cushions lay scattered for those who sought peaceful reflection. Outside, the minaret stood tall, watching silently over the resting town. As dusk settled, lamps burned with a faint, unwavering glow inside. Now we glide onward to a quiet neighborhood street in the fading light. Children's toys lay untouched on doorsteps, bathed in the last warm beams. Elders sat on wooden benches, weaving tales in voice tender and low. The scent of baking filled open windows, mingling with evening's mild air. Lanterns hung from olive branches, swinging softly in a comforting breeze. Footsteps echoed faintly on cobblestones, steady and unhurried as sleep neared. Near a fountain, water spilled with a calm, rippling melody tonight. Homes glowed softly, their warmth spilling gently onto the sleeping street. As night wrapped the village in deep peace, quiet dreams began to stir. We now shift gently to the quiet rhythm of a caravan's slow pace. Traders moved steadily, wrapped in wraps dyed with the earth's mellow colors. Horses' hooves made soft sounds on dusty paths lined with whispering trees. Inside, robes fluttered faintly in the mild wind of the afternoon. Veiled faces turned toward shaded tents, places of calm and rest awaiting. Small fires crackled quietly beneath pots simmering with fragrant, subtle spices. The singing of birds threaded through the warm, steady afternoon air. Eyes met across markets, exchanging kind, gentle greetings, unmarred by haste. At night, stars watched over the slow passage, their light tender and sure. From here, our thoughts turn toward a slow evening in a city garden. Paths curved quietly beneath the limbs of fig and pomegranate trees. Delicate evening blooms uncurled, filling the air with faint, alluring scents. Fountains offered their peaceful trickle, mixing with the whisper of leaves. Benches lay waiting, touched by the tender shadows of twilight's embrace. Visitors wandered softly, breathing in the garden's calming, serene beauty. In this stillness, the world seemed paused, wrapped in a warm silence. We now follow the faint murmur of a quiet family meal at dusk. Plates were filled with hummus, fresh bread, and clusters of ripe figs. Laughter was low, a tender thread weaving through the shared evening air. Warm oil pooled gently over dishes bright with pomegranates and herbs. Candles flickered faintly, casting a mellow glow on familiar faces. Stories passed slowly, like a quiet river flowing through the heart of home. Hands reached out thoughtfully to pass bowls of olives and fresh cheese. The aroma of mint tea lingered, wrapping around the gentle hum of night. Outside, branches swayed softly, as if nodding along to the peaceful scene. This moment was steady, a calm pause amid the rhythm of living. Let us glide now to a peaceful morning where artisans prepare dyes. Colors flowed from bowls filled with natural pigments, calm and radiant. Hands dipped fabric slowly into pools of deep indigo and soft rose. Cloths hung from lines, fluttering tenderly in the mild morning air. The scent of crushed leaves and petals filled the space with earth's warmth. These artisans worked with care, their movements steady and mindful. The sun shone faintly over dyed threads drying in the hushed breeze. Nearby, a small child watched quietly, eyes wide with gentle wonder. The rhythms of this craft were slow, deliberate, and soothing to all. We now float over to a village bakery on a midsummer afternoon. Sunlight warmed white-tiled ovens, radiating a soft, constant heat inside. Bakers rolled dough slowly, their fingers tracing peaceful circles and folds. The scent of cinnamon and honey mingled in the hushed, warm air. A wooden paddle slid under golden loaves, moving steadily toward the door. People came and went in calm waves, exchanging kind smiles and patience. Outside, flowers nodded in unison, their petals soft under a mild breeze. This bakery was a cocoon of gentle traditions and tender smells. Evening approached with quiet steps, bathing the scene in mellow light. From here, we drift to a still riverside village with boats tied snugly. The wooden hulls rested calmly, their reflections steady in mirror-like water. Fishermen mended nets slowly, their hands weaving patterns with patient care. The morning mist blanketed the scene, wrapping the village in calm. Bird calls echoed softly, blending with the gentle lapping of the water. Small gardens grew herbs and vegetables,